let's go ahead and call to order. It is 4:33.
Roll call.
Please.
Albertine Allen.
Present.
Dennis Carroll.
Present.
Marty Corley.
Present.
Bonnie Dimke.
Present.
Diana Gore.
Present.
Melody Haynes.
Present.
Judy Lang.
Present.
Gabrielle Mays.
Here.
Nancy Moldenhauer.
Here.
Mary Ellen Quinn.
Here.
Tyra Robinson Walker.
Here.
You have all here.
We got everybody in here.
Wow.
Amazing, wow.
Thank you.
Could we not
And
forget?
now we can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance for our
Yes.
new tradition.
It's on the agenda.
Tradition. It's right here.
It's right here.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the minutes
So
from
moved.
January 7th?
Second.
There is. We're on it today. Okay. Finance report.
Oh, that's me.
Maybe not totally on it.
So you see, I passed out a copy of the finance report. Nothing has really changed since last month. Our last item on the finance report was the payment to the Purdue Northwest Martin Luther King breakfast, which if you didn't go, you missed a good event. So our ending balance is still $5,969.75.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on the finance report? Okay. Executive Director's report.
Good evening, everyone.
Approve the finance report.
Oh, thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Executive Director's report.
Okay, I have a couple of things. If you all noticed, I hope everyone got a blue or turquoise folder. I'm going to try to pass these out at each meeting so that, you'll have the information that I want to pass on to you. Someone can pass this down, I really appreciate it. You saw Mrs. Ford. So if there's anything that I find out throughout the month that I don't email or just case updates and things of that nature, you'll probably find it in here, and I'll just collect these at the end of every meeting. So it's just a way of old-fashioned way of communicating.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
The first form that you're going to see is I call it a case disposition, and basically the information it has on it, it'll show you just the activity of the cases for the month. I'm not sure if we're going to do this monthly or quarterly at this time, but last year in 2019, it's a list of all of the cases that the former director handled. The ones that you will find that have been shaded are the ones that you did not see because they went directly to ICRC or EEOC. Those are the ones that are shaded. And then the ones that aren't shaded are the ones that actually were investigated by Mr. Riddle and then sent through the probable cause committee, and then a ruling was decided on them. At the bottom you'll see a key. It's pretty basic. Probable cause, no probable cause. Terms and conditions. What that basically means is that the individual was not terminated, but whatever discrimination he or she were experiencing was it occurred during the continuum of employment. So based on their terms and conditions of their employment, they felt that these things happened to them. And then the other basis that we usually use is termination. So you'll see in one column where it might say employment termination or employment terms and conditions. Generally, under terms and conditions, the individual is still employed. They have not been terminated. It's just they've experienced some things that they feel like be discriminatory for their continual employment. So does anyone have any questions, or forward it to EEOC, forward it to ICRC. Let's see, investigatory process. We do have one case that's still open. That is still an investigatory process.
Is that 1914?
Yes.
1914.
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. I like this. It's good.
Yeah, it went to the probable cause committee. The committee members asked for additional information. I reached out to the company, so I'm expecting the information sometime this week. And then, of course, we have we had a couple that and I'm not really sure how this happened, but we had a couple that we did not have jurisdiction on. And generally, basically, the ordinance for the commission is that we accept cases and investigate cases that where the respondent is located within the limits of Michigan City. And I noticed a couple were from places like LaPorte or Rolling Prairie. Yeah, so, and we don't investigate, even if the company is physically located or the department is physically located in Michigan City, we do not have any oversight or any type of authority over Indiana departments. So anytime we receive a complaint against the prison or Westville or the Department of Children or anything that has anything to do with the state of Indiana, those go automatically to EEOC because we don't have authority.
There's a whole host of, there's also the South Shore is the same thing because it's federal, because
It's
the federal
federal,
money that comes in, so we can't do anything against the South Shore, so that, never really should have been kicked out before.
So all we do is just help process, and we just forward them on down to EEOC for those type of investigations.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is wonderful. And this should remain here because there's identifying names on it, yes.
Yeah. Well, you can take it, but because I'm not exactly, and maybe Larry can speak more on this, but when I was here before, we didn't put names or respondents' names or anything, but I guess due to open door laws, that kind of has changed a little bit. But in the past, everything was coded based on case numbers. So even when we sent out probable cause cases, we redacted everything. So you would get even if you got a case this thick, half of it was just white out and black marker. We redacted everything. But now it seems that we're allowed to.
Well, I could briefly talk to that. With the open door law, and you guys all know the big push under the open door law, everything is pretty much accessible except for social security numbers, and there's some other things having to do with minors. But I still agree with you though, Nancy, that I don't think that it should be sent via the email or over the internet, and we should not, and I didn't mention any names, we haven't mentioned any names here on camera, I would not mention any names. If somebody wants to know something and they insist under the open door law, we would have to give it to them. But we don't have to volunteer, so don't be taking it home, leaving it at the PTA meeting or whatever, at church or passing it out. So either leave it in I don't know, do we have names?
We don't have names yet.
But if you want to do that, you want to get your same one back, you can just leave it in the blue folder and leave it here, and so you'll have it.
That's a good idea.
Have it for next month.
Also in the folders is information about the 5th annual Michigan City Community Job Fair. I met with the president of the Michigan City Chamber of Commerce, and I also met with the representative from the Economic Development Department. And I was, given an update on this, and it seems that the Human Rights Commission has been a partner with the Chamber and the Economic Development and some other organizations to put this job fair on. So it's that time of year again where they start the planning, and so I was approached and they gave me the information, and I told them I would have to bring it back to the commission as far as our continued support, because I think in the past we've been given $500, and I know that there's been a slight change in things, so I wanted to bring it back to the commission to let them, or to let you decide, how you want to handle this particular request.
The request is for $500,
Yes.
and does that sound right? I felt like,
No, that doesn't sound right.
Marty, would you be able to pull what we contributed to that?
I don't have this is my first year doing the.
It seems like 200
Okay,
is more in line with what we have
Yeah.
done.
Well, 200 is our limit.
200 is our limit,
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell you that we slipped it in under,
unless the executive director had taken out of their budget. There was, because the department has a budget, correct?
What was that, 2018?
Well, I'll call just to verify, but I believe the number she mentioned to me was 500, because they're having it at Blue Chip, and they're using the huge room, so $500, it didn't alarm me because the number, because it costs about that much.
Well, and they might have
Yeah.
reevaluated what the contribution needs to be for being a partner in the event, which is fine,
Yeah.
But we should just be, intentional about what we're giving and the reason for giving it. And maybe, yeah, if there was a model last year for 5 in which we gave 2 and the department gave 3, would that be something that we could that you'd be able to access, just finding that out?
Based on the budget that I've seen, I don't see where there was room to do so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what I would suggest is that this go to the finance committee to determine whether or not it meets our requirements as to what we can do.
Can and I was gonna add that if I can also just ask if when it goes back to the finance committee, could we be able to understand if this was a line item that was already within the budget, or was this just a donation
Right.
of a event that we supported in the past and how many years? I just would like to know that, because I remember supporting it in the past, but I don't remember it being more than one time, and I don't remember it being a line item.
No, and I don't remember from previous budgets, but I don't think it's in this budget as a line item, so, you know, theoretically, it could have been in there in the past. But,
Okay.
Yeah,
I think it is, I mean, the event is directly in line with our mission, and I would support providing a contribution if the finance committee could review the request and get the information that Tyra had requested, bring it back to the commission. Would that give us enough time as for, we have all those rules?
Yeah, I believe the rules state about 2 months in advance that you made
45 days.
Yeah, you made the request, so yeah, I think that they've done it in enough time.
Since we are
So let's put it under
on,
old business for the next meeting?
since we are on that, can we set a date for finance committee today?
Sure.
About Monday?
I'm in Indy all next week for work,
Okay. Nope.
but I could,
That won't work.
sorry.
You can Zoom, Skype.
Can I
Yes.
video conference into a finance committee meeting? He doesn't like it.
I know he doesn't like it, but it's live.
Is it?
I'm not saying, I don't, you know, I'm just discussing this last week, and some federal, some state agencies allow that, but from what the open door counselor told me specifically, was that it was not, you can Skype, but you can't vote or you can't participate. You could, if you wanted to Skype just to be Skyping, fine, but what
Why
they
don't we
told
just say
me.
let's not do it now, and maybe something to look into
Okay.
for, coming out.
Yeah.
Are we trying other dates?
You want to do that now? Yeah.
I am available this week. I am available on the 14th.
It's Friday.
Yeah.
Friday's all right.
How about
Well,
you
why
guys
don't we-
discuss
yeah,
that?
handle this
on-
after
You
the
discuss it,
meeting.
then
I think
I'll
that-
move on.
Yeah.
I think it's also important that for meetings, that committee meetings like the finance committee, and really all committee meetings, that we be mindful of, once the people who really have to be there set the meeting, make sure that everyone on the commission knows when and where the meeting will be, so that people can attend and feel welcome to attend.
And again, it has to go through the executive director, because she would have to post the notice, make sure that the room is clear and post notice so that it goes out. And whoever this chair is will have to keep a brief minutes as to who was there, what was discussed, what was decided.
Sure.
Also in your package, you're going to find information. There is going to be, I received this from Robert Cotman, Chip Cotman. And Mr. Cotman used to be a former commissioner, but right now at this time he is the director of juvenile court services for LaPorte County. And they work under a grant called JDI, and I had to write this down. And JDI stands for Juvenile Detention Alternate Initiative.
Alternative.
Yeah, alternative, yeah. And I'm pretty sure a couple of you are familiar with the Tyra and Abby. And so what they are doing is they received a grant, and what the grant was able to do is to bring in a speaker. And the speaker is going to be here on April 30th. Mr. Cotman sent out an invitation to a lot of people. And it's free, registration is free, but there is limited seating, so if you want to attend, I put the registration form in your packets. The gentleman's name is Tim Wise. I'm not real familiar with him, but there's a bio attached as well. It seems that Mr. Wise has been on CNN, MSNBC, NPR. He's authored 7 books. And the topic for the April 30th discussion is going to be white privilege. So if anyone's interested in attending, you have the registration form in your packet, and then I can get you this, sir, if you're interested.
Do we know when it ends? It has a start time, but it doesn't have the end time. Is it a half a day? Is it a whole day? Is it?
Well, it says the breakfast starts at 8 and the program begins at 9. I'm not exactly sure how long the event will
It's
be.
usually a couple of.
Yeah, it ends before lunchtime.
Yeah.
11:30 maybe.
Yeah, it's usually a couple hours.
I would say that, Chip Cotman and his group do just amazing work.
Yes, they do.
Each year, these programs that they put on, I attend a tremendous amount of professional development every year, and they are always some of my greatest takeaways. They're thoughtful in who they're booking for their speakers, and they're incredibly well organized. I was able to, under a grant that Chip and his department wrote, I was able to do a certification program last year through Georgetown University on reducing racial and ethnic disparities in the juvenile and education system. And through that work, I've become very familiar with the JDI initiative, and as much support as the Human Rights Commission can give to them in their work, even if it's just by attending their events or promoting, the better, because their work is powerful, and they're just a really talented group.
Yeah, Chip was a wonderful commissioner when he was here. Yeah, so it's, if anything we can do to support him. Maybe I'll contact him and just try to find out how long it anticipated to be.
I'm confident to say about 11:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see a couple more things, and then I don't know how you guys will take this one, but this year, I don't know if you're familiar, but our Human Rights Agency isn't the only one in the state of Indiana. There's most of the major cities have one: Gary, South Bend, Indianapolis, East Chicago, Hammond. Well, every year they get together to hold a conference, and they usually do it, and all the commissions get together in collaboration with the Indiana Civil Rights Commission, some other Indianapolis agencies, the Indianapolis Human Rights Commission. They all get together and they host a conference. And they share information. They have some really good speakers. I think last year's keynote speaker was Mayor Karen Freeman Wilson. So they have really nice speakers, and they share information. They have attorneys come up. They do offer training for commissioners as well as directors. And it's going to be in Michigan City this year. I found this out. Last year's attendance was, they had it in Indianapolis last year. Last year, their statistics were like 200 people attended, 33 cities and states and 10 states were represented. They had 35 speakers, they had 41 sponsors. So we're lucky enough to have this big group of people come to Michigan City. They're going to stay at Blue Chip. I see it as a real bonus for the city. Larry's so kind enough to remind me of how much work went into it. When we've had it before here in Michigan City. I think it was almost 20 years ago. It's been a really long time. So yeah, it's been a really long time.
When is it?
It will be June 10th through the 12th of this year. I'll have more information as I find out information. I'm gonna reach out to the president of the consortium to just get more information and see what kind of responsibilities they want us to entail. Depending on how much they need, I'm going to try to make this a community effort type of situation. I'm going to reach out to the LaPorte County Visitors Bureau. Because with 200 people, I think that would be something that the whole city can get behind, and talk to some other departments to see just how much we'll be able to handle, and see what kind of assistance we can get from not only Michigan City but LaPorte County as well. So.
Can I just jump in? I don't want people to think that I love the consortium, and I've been telling you guys this every year. If you can go. And this is the one that Diane and I attended last summer, and it was fantastic, and it was really well done. And I do remember telling Carl, I said, Carl, this is great, but for a big city like Indianapolis, to put on with the assistance of ICRC, and they did a wonderful job. It's just so much more difficult for a small community like ours. And we did it the last time, or last time that Cindy Davis did it when she was the chair, or the executive director. We had a staff of 3, and she swore up and down that we would never do it again because it was just too difficult to continue your same. You still have to continue to run the operations here, plus put on this major event with all these people coming from outside. But if we can get, I think it can be a very positive thing, if we can get assistance from the county, from the city, from maybe adjacent agencies, it would help us. I think it's wonderful. It's a fantastic thing to do, and now none of you would have an excuse to not be able to attend because it is very educational. And with the people that they have come in and speak, it's really one of the few opportunities to get training, and in a not a very difficult way to do it. So I've got it. First I heard about it was 10 minutes ago. I told Carl to, don't let him talk him into doing this, but apparently it happened. And we had nothing to do with this. This wasn't our idea. What I was told is that they booked the rooms and they're coming, and so we'll see what we can do. So I'm just letting you all know that, at least as far as participating by being there, the last one that was here locally was South Bend. They had okay participation from their commission, but I know it's difficult because it's all during the day. There's events in the evening, there's dinners, and there's more fun events in the evening, but the main events with the education is during the day, and I know everybody works, but you don't have to do it every day. You don't have to be there for the whole 2.5 or 3 days that it goes on. But we'll see what happens. We'll get further reports. I'm kind of excited because this could be a really good thing for the city and for the county. So just put it on your calendars, and we'll see what happens. But this wasn't something that we are pushing on you guys. We were told they're coming, and that they're doing it at a Blue Chip, and.
Okay.
I think that we're really fortunate to have Tanisha with us for this event, having experienced one before and being so well-versed and just all around so competent. It will be really nice to have that leadership as we, showcase our city. I know that we'll all want to do everything we can to show these communities what our community has to offer, and there are so many different ways that this can look, because there is not just the educational piece during the day, but the portions in the evening where we can show different parts of our city and the collaborative nature of our community. So I know, I for one will just want to set something up where we can find out what is the expectation of the Michigan City Commissioners now that we are hosting, and will we form an event committee? How will we approach that? Yes. And just really be mindful so that we don't accidentally let it sneak up or let the opportunity pass, But I have no experience with this, and I don't know, do they plan at all? And I'm curious to see more of the behind the scenes with it. So great.
And when I spoke to them, they were kind of, because I've been in the office a couple of weeks, so I hadn't had the opportunity to reach out. So they were kind of antsy because they were wondering were we on board. And I assured them that of course we would be, and we would help them in the way that any way that we could. But I did remind them that that our staff is very small. Very small. That, but then after I thought about it, and I had a couple hours to think about it, I really do see this as an opportunity for Michigan City itself to be, for, like I said, we have a wonderful visitors bureau. We have our different departments, our park department that always come through for us. So I think that together we probably could pull this off, and that's 3 days of 200 plus extra people in the city. I mean, I think we've done that before. I think we can do it again.
And these are agencies which we don't often, as a commission, get to interface.
Yeah.
A lot of people in our community just don't have a context for the Human Rights Commission or have worked with us as a whole, and so having an opportunity to show ourselves in a powerful way will be really nice.
Yeah, and I'm expecting people from Illinois, because we're so close, so we would be just a train ride away from Illinois. We've had people before from Ohio, I want to say, Michigan, and since we're so centrally located and we're on the water, which is our biggest draw, I can see people just trying to get here just to at least go to the beach, and not to mention we have a casino and all the other things. So I think that it'll probably be a really big event for Michigan City. Then it's at the beginning of the summer, so it'll probably just fit into whatever summer planning we already have. So.
Yeah, we don't even know if there's anything else going on.
Well, we do. I mean, there's a lot.
We have our parades, and we're going to have the boat races again.
Well, that week there's, this goes from the 10th to the 12th, and then the 13th is Swale Music Fest in Westcott Park.
Okay.
it's hard to find. It's nice, it's during the week, but you're hard up to find a weekend during the summer
True.
here where there's not something because everyone's trying to do their stuff. So also Brew at the Zoo is on the 13th. So there's some nice opportunities to try to get people to consider staying.
Mm-hmm.
They could stay and kind of see what we have to offer on a summer weekend. That could be really cool.
Okay.
So yeah.
I do recall, though, now coming back, the last time when we did it at the Holiday Inn, we had Blue Chip here, and we wanted to have them do it at Blue Chip. But they said, no way, that's immoral gambling, and they weren't going to.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a problem.
We had a problem with that, because the better alternative would have been Blue Chip.
Well, the chair of the consortium at that time was a minister. He was a minister. His name was, I'm not going to say his name, but he was a minister. I remember him. And he was a very religious man, so yeah, the gambling and alcohol thing did kind of...
They reconsidered.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then, so maybe Blue Chip, so the Holiday Inn didn't really provide any assistance, so maybe Blue Chip would be more than willing to just cater all the meals and provide all that stuff, and and maybe the consortium will bring in the experts to talk. So really, we might have to just be acting as hosts. Be there,
On the flip side,
welcome people.
on the flip side, and we could take this conversation to committee after this, but this might be a really nice opportunity to give business to local businesses and give some of our local businesses the opportunity to showcase, to cater the lunches and, to show off a little bit more of what we have to offer. Blue Chip does a beautiful job, but it would show the character, I think, a little more of our city if we took every opportunity to work in our local vibe.
Are we allowed to take cater into Blue Chip?
I have no idea.
I don't think so.
I have no idea.
I don't
I
know.
know.
I don't think
So we could always host different events outside.
If we were going to do a networking reception in the evening, there's so many opportunities.
Or whatever.
Yeah. All right. We could take this conversation to committee if we put together an event. Committee?
Well, we could also bring some bread.
Yes.
We don't have a lot.
We could. All right. Anything else?
The last thing is that I'm in the process of closing several of the cases, and as I was going through the ruling forms, I noticed that everyone didn't always sign all of the ruling forms. So if you don't mind sticking around, I put Post-its on it to remember some. Just if you can just put your signature on it so that we can have 3 signatures if it ever comes back to. Once the case is closed, just a quick thing. Once a case is closed, we send them, whether we investigate or not, we send them down to EOC, and they perform what they call a substantial weight review. And with the substantial weight review, they just basically make sure that all of our T's are crossed and all of our I's are dotted. So there is someone that does overview our work or review our work, and if the charging party is ever dissatisfied after going through our appeal process, I always let them know that there is another level where our work is reviewed once again, and that is down in Indianapolis at the EOC. So,
Thank you so much for catching that.
Yeah.
That had come up.
yeah.
Thank you.
So I'm finished now. I think I've
Wonderful.
dropped enough bombs.
Great. Yeah, it was lively. Okay. Staff attorney report?
I don't have anything else either. I've spoken enough, so unless anybody has a question, I'll shut up.
Pastor Carroll, do you have social status reports?
Mine would be very quick. On the SAMS Commission report, this was, NAACP was brought up, and I'm going to bring it up here. LaPorte County 3061 presents third annual Trailblazer Freedom Fund and Scholarship Banquet featuring George C. Fraser, Cleveland, Ohio, discussing when education and economic rise. And so this is, I wish I brought more with me to pass out, but it starts Saturday, March 21st, 2020. And Blue Chip Casino, 777 Blue Chip Drive, Michigan City, 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. $50 for adults age 18 and over, $25 ages 12 through 17, and limited. And it has all the honorees listed on this. So this sounds like a very educational thing that is by the NAACP. Contacts Floretha County, 219-872-8779, and Wesley Scully, 219-878-2034. And so if I could
Pass it
pass it around, yes. Thank you, that's all I have.
Thanks so much, Pastor Carroll. Committee reports. Executive committee, you do not have a report. Special events.
Special events has a very brief report, but just dovetailing on what Tanisha and our attorney was saying. We thought this would be the perfect time to have our Humanitarian of the Year award ceremony, which will be at Millennium Plaza, followed by a boat ride. Now, Commissioner Tyra Robinson Walker has had experience with this, and she has put my mind at ease that it's a pretty cool thing. And depending on the dates, if the captain has available, we will try to do that in tandem with the consortium dates or immediately preceding. So we're real excited about that. And that's as far as it's gone thus far, but it will proceed.
The only thing I would add about that is that the lake can really be bad.
Yes, I know.
So either
We know.
you'd have to have an alternate plan.
Yes, of course. Yeah, thank you, Larry, you're right, you're right.
Look,
We're all gonna go bike riding. Yeah. I mean, I did think early June might be a little early, but it just depends on the weather. And we absolutely will have an alternate plan,
What kind
but
of boat are you going on the lake?
it's a
The
cruise.
Amita?
It's a cruise,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a big boat,
It's a big,
but
big boat.
still, if the lake is choppy, you can
Right.
go
They won't go out if it's not.
Right, they will, of course.
The key
Did
word
you
is a
say
boat.
a date?
Well, the consortium date is the 10th to the 12th. If we can get the captain to maybe do it the day before, okay? A lot of these folks will be arriving a day or two before the
Oh,
consortium.
I understand. Okay.
So we could, that could be something that we could highlight, or not, or it'll just be
Conjunction.
us.
Thank
Right,
you.
Right.
Maybe we get more people
Very cool.
to.
Right, I think it will be something different, and once again, I'm going to beseech you all to support this, because, as you know, we're on a very tight budget because of the deficit that, well, we don't even know if we're gonna be funded the $10,000 that we were the previous year from the mayor's office. I'm just saying, we're not gonna be able to spend the kind of money we're used to because we simply don't have it. And if we don't make a good showing on this Humanitarian of the Year awards, it's gonna impact us greatly.
Sure.
And so don't get scared away if you've never been out on a boat. I mean, I've boated all my
it's
life on
nice.
Lake Michigan. It's fantastic.
Great, the Amita too.
But if the weather is bad, then that's a different story.
Yeah,
But
it is.
it's really something that everybody
It's
should do.
fun, it's a lot of
It
fun.
is just beautiful to see the lakefront from the water side.
You need a ship.
Saying boat.
It's pretty big. It's pretty big.
Good catch. All right. Fundraising committee?
So, pass out a flyer for Paint and Sip. Our committee met, last 2 weeks ago? Week and a half ago. And Commissioner Demke is going to volunteer her time to instruct, and then what we will have to pay is for, out of what we raise, will be for the materials, which she's going to try to keep at a small fee of like $10 a person. So basically, we're going to charge $35 a person or $50 a couple. It will be February 13th, the day before Valentine's, which what you call it?
Valentine's.
Valentine's Day.
Spend time with your friends, your lady friends.
Okay.
Zorn Brewworks has graciously allowed us to use the upstairs loft conference or banquet room, you want to call it. And doors open. We'll open up at 5:30, where you can come, get settled, pay, get everything set, and then we will start painting at 6, between 6 to 8. Zorn will have food and beverages available there that you can purchase from them. Then also afterwards you can stay around for any addition. They'll have a band playing later that night too. So would like for if you're going to tend to RSVP or prepay or pre-lease register you can pay when you get there, but at least register so we can know how many people, how many supplies Ms. Dimke will have to get for participants.
I'd like to just briefly comment again that I never painted since I was in kindergarten, but I went to this event and painted, and I so loved it that I've started to paint now. And I've been painting, I painted about 6 more paintings, and I really love it. So I'm just telling you guys
Are
that
you gonna come?
That's the greatest.
I have to check my calendar because I don't know the date, but I thought it was
There is
fantastic.
an alternative if you don't want to do a heart.
Oh, that's
prepared. I have
Love
someone to
birds.
help so we can do alternates if you want something a little more painterly.
Beautiful. Well, it really is. I mean, don't be scared away because I hadn't touched the paintbrush since kindergarten or probably was a grand, and don't be scared away.
Impressed.
And the flyer has the actual painting, and then like Ms. Dimke said, she has an alternate also.
Actually had some.
Very
So
cool.
all the proceeds will come back to us, and
I'm sure.
And I would be happy to donate a painting of my own for like an auction or raffle if we have enough people there
Very
to
nice.
get any funds. I'm hoping
Thank you.
the word is out.
we talked about what's the max you think you could do?
25.
25.
I have a painter friend who's helping
Okay.
me.
Well, thanks so much for doing this. This is
Yeah,
So
awesome.
Thank you.
please spread the word.
Yeah, spread the word, get your seats in advance.
That's only you.
I will be out of town
It's
for work,
next
but I do wish we
Thursday,
could do
yeah.
that.
Because I really need to have an idea of how many cans. I don't want to overbuy.
No, for sure. The Education Committee does not have a report. I currently chair the Education Committee, but I would be happy to hand that over to anybody else. I started doing that before I was chair, which meant that I was on the Executive Committee, which meant that I was on the Finance Committee, I'm in a new role in my professional life now. I want to be really mindful about not letting anything fall to the side. So that would be a nice opportunity, I think, to let somebody who hasn't yet claimed a stake in any committee yet to take something. So no need to commit right now, no pressure. I'm happy to do it, but I'm aware that it is not at the moment my top priority, and if it could be someone's, I would confidently hand it over to anybody else. So feel free to email me if that's something that you might be interested in.
Under that, the Black History
Thinking
Month
about
contest is under that too.
Yep, the Black History Month contest has a deadline for submissions to come in by the 10th. Safe Harbor is, participating. The students have been working hard, which has been really nice to see. And also, for the older kids, having to write a story or a poem has been really nice in giving us the opportunity to explore different formats of poetry that the kids could choose from. They have one concept of what poetry is, some of them. And so it's been nice for them to explore what different types of poetry can look like in addition to exploring the theme. And it's been a really great way to allow our team to focus on character development for Black History Month specifically this week and last week for just opening up that discussion. And so Safe Harbor is definitely thankful for the opportunity from the Human Rights Commission. But submissions are due on the 10th. And Marty, do you want to go over the process of judging?
Yeah, so we were hoping to have all categorized and judged between the 10th and the 14th. As I look at that, the 12th will be the best day for me, or the 13th. So the 12th, 13th, and we will have to, for me to do it, start about 3:30ish to start getting everything categorized and then judging right after. So whoever's available,
Where will you be doing that?
we'll do it downstairs in EEOC.
13th.
Next
Right
week.
around the corner.
Yeah.
We got the.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. The 12th, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
The 12th.
Yeah.
And are we set on the date and time for the presentation? Is it February 27th at 3:30?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless we did the 17th, and then if we did the 17th, which is a Monday, then we could have everybody notified by that next day.
I could do the 17th. Like I keep saying, I'm out of town all next week for work. So, feel free to meet. Pardon?
think 17th isn't that a federal holiday?
President.
Schools in
President's
session
Day.
is,
I
That's a
have,
federal holiday when we work every day.
schools in session.
we have keys.
What time is that?
Would the 17th work for everyone, or?
Are we all welcome?
Yes,
time?
oh, yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Encouraged.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
We need
That's the
everyone to
judging?
help. This is a big job.
Okay,
What time at?
10?
10, like, a.m.?
Well, yes.
Let's look at that.
To judge?
Yeah.
Well, it seems arbitrary whatever time we pick, but sure, afternoon. I was thinking during early in the day, but if afternoon is better, great.
Well, I'll be transitioning to midnight, so I won't be up until 10 o'clock. I can already tell you that.
What time would work for you?
Anytime afternoon. So, 1,
One?
2.
Would one work?
1 o'clock?
17th at 1 o'clock.
Yeah,
O'clock, okay.
And you said downstairs?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Usually you get the EOC.
I'll check on the availability of that room. And then I'll probably have to be upstairs to, let you in because the building will be closed that day, but we'll be okay.
Okay, perfect, okay.
Then, bylaw committee? No report? And MLK committee?
I'm taking feedback by email, if you guys can get that to me before the end of the month in reference to those who have some suggestions, feedback, and et cetera about the Martin Luther King breakfast. We will be debriefing our breakfast in March. So if I can have any of that information so I can take to the committee and so we can have a debriefing of suggestions and comments about what your thoughts are and any recommendations for the following year.
Thank you. It was beautiful. It's always beautiful, but thank you so much.
Thank you. If you guys even knew what happened this year, I'm just happy it actually came off as well as it did, but yeah.
If we get some sausage next year.
Yeah.
That was it.
We were happy to have people, we were happy to have speakers.
You can email that
It
over.
was so many changes.
Yeah, it was great. It's
At the
always
last
great.
minute.
It's always
Well, it
great.
was seamless. You wouldn't have known. Great work.
Thank you.
PA flag?
Yes, this is the LGBTQ committee report. PFLAG has moved its meetings to the first Wednesday of every month, and that was due to low attendance on Thursdays, and also we have changed our venue, so this is really good news. Our next meeting will be tomorrow, Wednesday, February 5th at 6:30 p.m. at the Holcraft Performing Arts Center, which many of you know as the former Elston Middle School auditorium. So they have lots of rooms around there. So there'll be a nice venue. And so put that in your calendar for tomorrow at 6:30, and then the first Wednesday of every month. It's my understanding they're going to be rotating between the topical and support meetings. Those have worked well, so that will be continued. And also I have an announcement for Michigan City Pride Fest that has been scheduled for Saturday, June 20th from 1 to 9 p.m. And it's going to be held again at the Guy Foreman Amphitheater in Washington Park. The first year was held, we had 2,000 attendees. Last year it went up to 10,000 attendees, so we're expecting many more this year. And it's really a great celebration of the diversity of our community overall, so everybody is invited to come. There'll be kids' activities, there'll be music, there'll be food. It's just a time to come out and celebrate, and also there will be booths available for vendors and also for community organizations, so if the Human Rights Commission is interested in being there, then we could be there also.
And what date, what's the date again?
Saturday, June 20th.
That's what I thought you said.
Yeah, from 1 to 9 p.m. at the Guy Foreman Amphitheater in Washington Park. Michigan City Pride Fest, number 3.
Thanks, Nancy. Scholarship committee?
Yes, so I would like to have a scholarship committee meeting on the 10th, verbally like 3:30. Be real short, just kind of go over, we'll get a quick topic for each scholarship, the Judy Huber Scholarship and the Williams Hawkins Scholarship, and so we can get those out. I'd like to get them out by the end of either next week or the beginning of the following week, so that they can be out. And the drifters will be having their workshops for scholarships. So I'd like to make sure that at least entry forms are out so that they can, students can get help with the drifters at their workshops. The scholarship won't be due until early April, but I still like to get it out early so they can, the kids can use the drifters workshops to help with them applying. So if anybody could, did you send out a notice? So I would say 3:30 Monday here, if anybody would like to participate.
Thank you. We have nothing listed for old business?
Yeah, real quick, I didn't know whether to bring this up or not, but just, I think you guys should know that the fire department in Michigan City is again an issue with the minority hiring. And Tanisha has attended at least one meeting. And I just want to give you a brief background. In 1978, there was an order by U.S. District Court in South Bend, Judge Sharp, that blacks be hired to the Michigan City Fire Department, and that was the terminology back then. And so since then, there was a lot of no action for many, many years until I believe it was Willie Millsap brought this up in the first place, and we found the consent decree in our offices. And since then, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, we've had 2 lists, and the firefighters have been hired based on 2 lists. So now there's some more question as to whether that needs to continue. And we are looking into it, Tanisha's looking into it, and we'll have to look at the statistics and see what the breakdown is for minorities and for blacks in Michigan City compared to what the statistics are for the fire department. But this was a major issue some years ago, and a very contentious issue. And so I thought I should at least bring it up to let you guys know that it might be coming up again. And the consent decree is still a valid order. And this actually, Carl dealt with this at the end of his term, but he never mentioned it to anyone, myself included, that he was doing this. So I did think I just wanted to let you guys know that it is possibly going to come up again. So we'll see what happens, and we'll report in the future.
And just to piggyback on what you said, the action was started by the fire department or individuals at the fire department, but when the judge made the ruling, he included the entire city of Michigan City, specifically the fire department, the city of Michigan City workforce, and the police department. So at the time, it was a huge piece of, a ruling for Michigan City, because it really it kind of undressed us a little bit, as far as how minorities were treated back in the 70s. I think that there was a time when, I think at the time there were only 4 African American males on the fire department. I mean, the numbers have increased greatly since then, but we were talking 1978 and there were only 4. And I think that there were problems with the 4 that were there. I believe there was a police officer who was African American male, and after that, we hired African American females. We hired white females. So that ruling really did, start an avalanche of a progressive movement for the city. But then someone forgot about it. It got put in a box somewhere or a file cabinet, and it just, stopped being enforced until Mr. Millsap kindly remembered that it existed. So.
Great, thank you.
Thank you for the update. And keep us posted, and if there's anything that you need from us and anything that we should have access to be able to be more well versed in the history of that.
See what happens.
In fact, I'll get everyone a copy of it. I mean, it looks like something did in 1978 too. So don't be shocked by how it looks.
Yeah.
Some of these names are amazing. I'm reading some of these names on here, and it's very prominent people. And
I remember that.
Yeah.
All right. Other than that, no
that's
old
it.
business, no new business. Is there any? Go ahead.
Before public comment, I passed out these calendars and stuff for the Michigan City Black History Month Committee. It's our calendar events for February, month of Black History Month. So if you guys take a look, there's several different events and activities to participate for the community. So take a look and help share and come out and and enjoy the month.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
It says Charles Westcott Day celebration. Is that included with the thing that Miss Holly Hop was having? Do you know anything about that?
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be at the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay, did anybody contact Ricky?
I'm not on that committee.
Okay,
I do not know. You have to contact Mr. Williams or Holly Hawks.
okay.
Yeah, I'm not on that committee.
I do have another comment. I would like to thank the commission for the gorgeous plant that I received when my mother passed this past month, and so I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's really a beautiful plant.
We're glad to have been able to do something.
Thank you.
Okay, public comment?
Abigail, just let you know that I've been reappointed as the liaison to the Human Rights Commission.
Oh, yeah.
I love coming to the meetings anyways.
You know, I put in a special request for you.
Oh,
You did.
I appreciate your work. Thank you.
Well, thank you. We look forward to being able to work with you, especially now that we'll need someone to carry the load for this consortium.
How about that?
Okay. Would you like to, yeah.
Just briefly, I did have a meeting with Tatisha and actually found out she's my niece.
Oh, wow.
Really?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Just
But I do want to commendate about the plans that she has in her mind to do with the organization moving forward. And I think she's going to do a great job.
Thank you.
Agreed, absolutely.
I know she
Thank you
will.
for saying that.
I know she will.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I have a few questions. My name is Charles Gardner anyway, and I was looking online and saw this and human rights and I'm all that. And I just want to know, what is EOC? What does it do? And
EEOC is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. It's a federal body of individuals, and they work to basically oversee Title VII of 1964, which basically prohibits discrimination based on a person's color, race, gender, national origin, and then they also work with the ADA, which is the Americans with Disability, and then the ADEA, which is the Age Discrimination Act. So basically what they do is they try, and the equal pay. So what they try to do is just basically enforce the rules established under Title VII of the Civil Rights Law, which was enacted in 1964. They do investigations, they do education, they do outreach to the communities. When a person feels that he or she has been discriminated against because of their race or their gender or age or something under that auspice or umbrella, then they do investigations. Now, a majority of the states in the United States have state commissions, which is the Indiana Civil Rights Commission, Michigan has a Civil Rights Commission, Illinois has a Civil Rights Commission, and then inside of each state, a lot of the different municipalities also have human rights agencies so that they can address things such as discrimination in employment, fair housing, violations, and things of that nature.
Thank you so much for asking. That's a great point. We know we often use terms of art, meaning terms that are only familiar to people who have studied or done work in that field, or acronyms that might be, ostracizing to viewers or listeners, and so it is a good idea that we, clarify those terms of art or acronyms when we're using them. That's a good reminder. Thank you.
And if I could just add that we do handle EEOC complaints here. If you've heard some of the requirements, they have to be within city limits or have to be a certain number of employees. So that's probably the majority of our cases, our EEOC cases or employment cases. So if anybody has a complaint, then the first thing to start with would be contacting our office, and then we would send you on. If we couldn't handle the case, we would send you on to Indianapolis or someone else.
you answered my next question.
Yeah, we forward charges to EEOC, the Indiana Civil Rights Commission. We've done complaints for HUD, people that have complaints that fall under The HUD, umbrella, we forward complaints for that. We've done things for,
What is housing?
housing, urban development. So we try to accommodate the citizens of Michigan City, because a lot of since we're so far north, they kind of treat us like we're not here sometimes down in Indianapolis. So we work to try to help citizens that have to get information down in Indianapolis. We try to do our best to try to accommodate them and help them out with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
good to know.
Yeah, good.
Any other public comment? Well, then I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion, or meeting adjourned. Thanks so much. Great meeting.
Good meeting, yes, very good.